Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Light, and today's video is about injecting testosterone. Now, a lot of my patients, the specter of injecting something with a needle, a couple times a week is pretty scary. So we're going to go through in detail everything you need to know about injecting testosterone. So what you're going to get from the pharmacy is you're going to get a vial of testosterone, and they come in several shapes and sizes, but this is the general idea, and it's got a perforated little diaphragm on the top. You want to have an alcohol swab to keep things nice and clean. The syringes that we use are 1 cc syringes, and it's important with these syringes that you note that there's no needle stuck to it. Some of these syringes come with a needle stuck to it, and that's a problem because you need a big needle to draw up the testosterone and a smaller needle to inject it. And if you try to draw up testosterone, which is really thick and syrupy, with a small needle, you'll be there all day, and it's very frustrating. So make sure that the pharmacy gives you a syringe where you can actually remove the needle. And then you'll have a large drawing needle, which is a large diameter, and that's what you use to suck the testosterone up with, and then a very small injection needle. Funny thing about this injection needle is that it's small, which makes it comfortable. However, if you're trying to inject syrup through a small needle, you have to be patient. That's why we call you patients. You have to be patient and inject it very, very slowly to just let that testosterone trickle in, okay? So we start with a 1 cc syringe that the pharmacy provides, and we have this big draw needle, and they come in 21 gauge, 22 gauge, 23 gauge, something in the low 20s. And these draw needles are to draw this really syrupy, thick testosterone oil. And you just simply take the needle at the end of the syringe and you just twist it on and you're done. Okay? The other thing you want to do is you want to clean off the top of this vial to make sure, because it's a multi-use vial, you want to make sure there's nothing gras-douxy on it and make it nice and clean. And you set this aside. So now we're going to draw up the testosterone. You take the larger needle. Be careful. These needles are extremely, extremely sharp. You don't want to poke yourself with it. Even trained professionals poke themselves with it all the time. So you got to be very cognizant and pay attention to this. You pick up the vial and you turn it upside down. And then you're going to take this needle and puncture it right in the middle of that diaphragm. Poof, you're not going to go in very far. You're going to hold the vial up and you're going to slowly withdraw testosterone. Okay, and you just have to be patient because it takes a little time. And this is a 1 cc syringe, and most people who inject testosterone subcutaneously only need 0.25 cc's, which means that's only a quarter of the length of this whole syringe. So what I do, as you can see, is I draw up a lot more than I'm going to need, and then to get the air bubble out, I just shove it back in, and I'm going to 0.25. 1 to 0.25. That is all you need. You take the vial off and you remove the needle. Never recap a needle because you'll poke yourself. If you need to, you can bend it, or you can place it in a Pepsi can or a Dr. Pepper can, whatever you got. But just make sure it's sort of dealt with so you don't just throw it in the garbage and someone in your family, when they're taking the trash out, pokes himself with it. That's bad for them. Now we take the small injection needle, and just like the other one, we screw it on, okay? And we're ready for injection. So for the injection part, it's a lot easier than you think, and you get used to it pretty quickly. Now, places for injection that are commonly used are the abdomen and the thigh. Now the abdomen is pretty commonly used, but it's a little more tender and sensitive. It has more nerve fibers than the thigh. I'm kind of a baby about this, so I personally use my thigh when I inject. And generally, as you can see, I use the front of my thigh, the sides of my thigh. I alternate back and forth depending on what time of day it is or what the cycle is. But basically you want to move things around and not inject the same place every time. Most people taking sub-Q testosterone injections will do it usually twice a week. That's the average. So we're going to take our syringe. Well, first we're going to wipe off an area where you're going to inject with alcohol swab. Then I'm going to take the loaded syringe with 0.25 cc's in it and the small needle. Take the cap off, put it aside. Remember, this is a dangerous thing, so watch where you poke it and move it around. And what I do is I keep it easy. You don't go straight in with a syringe. You don't need to go that deep. You just need to get underneath the skin. So I like to just pinch up the skin a little bit, take the syringe at about a 35 or 40 degrees angle, and just slip it in. I didn't even feel that. And then remember, this is a small needle, so it's going to take a while for that testosterone to go through it. So you just apply a little pressure and just slowly inject it and wait. And you can see it doesn't zip in there. But I sure didn't feel that small needle, so that's the benefit. You have a small needle, but it takes a while to inject. So the testosterone is in. Pull the needle out. Most of the time you don't need to do anything with the puncture site. If there's a little blood, which happens in 0.1% of the time, you can hold a little pressure. I take this syringe and needle and I just bend it. And we are done. So if you have any questions about this, you can call me at my office or go to our website, www.integrativeMedicineDallas.com. And glad we could help. Thank you.